What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, y'all? Welcome to my 8th episode of Bedtime Stories with Barbie. But as y'all can see, it's still light time. It's still daylight outside today because I wanted to come and get y'all a little early preview because I was bored and stuff. So on this channel, y'all already know, I read y'all a book that I wrote. And I do it in my sexy lingerie. And we do the preview of the lingerie. So, let's get into this two-piece from Rihanna. It's a savage. I'm a savage, baby. Y'all know. Y'all already know I'm a savage. I love her. Because she's so dope and for the big girls. And as y'all see, that thing still thangin'. Yes, y'all see that thing still thangin'. What y'all think about the fit tonight? The two-piece tonight. Rihanna. It's from Rihanna, y'all. But, yeah. Don't, it's a little cold in here, so don't be all up in there. Y'all looking at the wrong stuff. But like y'all know, it's reading with Barbie. Reading with Barbie. Reading with Barbie. Reading with Barbie. All right. Like y'all already know, this ain't Cooking with Kaya, and we ain't trying to steal nobody, man. We just trying to read that nigga bedtime story. Let's go. What's up, everybody? What y'all thinking about the Rihanna Fenty? What's up, everybody? What's up, y'all? What's up? Hey, everybody. What's up? Welcome to the early party. I'm going to be doing 2 readings tonight. One at 6 and one at 8. I think I'm going to read the same book twice. Pappy, now I said 6, Jack. I said 6 o'clock. Where you was at 6 o'clock? Please tell me where you was at. Where was you at? Hold on 1 second, y'all.
Help again. I need help again.
What's up, everybody? We in the Rihanna Savage tonight. I love her. She reps for the big girls. Victoria's Secret would never get no more of my money. But y'all know we reading with Barbie. Reading with Barbie. Y'all missed the lingerie review like always. And y'all don't be focusing up here. It is a little chilly up in here. Focus on the reading. Focus on the book that I'm going to be reading tonight, alright? Yes, it is cold. It most definitely is. What's up, everybody? What's up? So today I'm going to be reading a book that I wrote called Torn Between the Two. It's a 5-chapter book. So it's a little longer than the 3 and the 4s that I usually do. But yes, so we're going to jump right into the reading, y'all. Again, it's called Torn Between the Two. I wrote this book myself. I write all the books. I write all the books that I read on the lives. All right. Hey, Cass. All right. So chapter 1, the heart versus the mind. Chapter 1, the heart versus the mind. She wasn't supposed to feel this way, sitting in her car, fingers gripping the steering wheel. Her mind ran in circles. Every part of her life was neatly set in place. Her relationship with him was supposed to be perfect, the safe guy, the one who had his life together, the one everyone loved, the one who made sense. And yet her heart was somewhere else. The street lights blurred through her windshield as she scrolled through her phone, hovering over a name she shouldn't be thinking about. Him, the man who made her heart race and her body ache. The one who wasn't safe. The one who was mean, dark, and intoxicated. The man she truly loved. She knew what would happen if she called. She knew the words he would say, the way his voice would drip with the effortless control he had over her, the way he would remind her that no matter who she was with, she always belonged to him. Her chest tightened as she fought against the pull. She had to stop. But love wasn't logical and confusion. It was an old friend, she sighed, locking her phone, knowing damn well she wasn't ready to let him go. The days blurred together, caught between illusion of happiness and the reality of her longing. When she was with the safe guy, everything looked perfect on the outside. He was the man everyone respected, the one with ambition, the one people called a role model. They took pictures together, smiling hand in hand, looking like the couple everyone wished they had. Y'all are couple goals, someone commented on her last Instagram post. She stared at the screen, heart sinking. Only if you knew, sis. Because when she was in bed with him, she didn't feel safe. She felt empty. His touch wasn't enough. His kisses didn't make her knees weak. His hands didn't own her the way he did. And when they had sex, she bit her lip and thought about the one she truly loved. The one who had her soul. She hated how much power he had over her. Hated that even when she tried to be good, his name sat heavy on her tongue. Because he knew. He always knew. And when her phone buzzed at midnight, she already knew who it was. Him. Her heart stopped. She hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen, knowing she shouldn't answer it, but she did. And at the moment she heard his voice, deep voice, smooth, filled with dark amusement, she was already his again. Her heart stopped. She hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen, knowing she shouldn't answer, but she did. The second she picked up, his voice came through the speaker, smooth, dark, dripping with familiar hunger. Come here so I can eat it. Her breath caught in her throat. Heat spread through her body, thighs pressing together as she clenched the phone tighter. He knew exactly what to say, exactly how to break her. She should hang up. She should tell him no. She should remind herself that she was engaged now, that she was trying to do the right thing. But all she could hear was his voice, and all she could feel was wanting him. That's chapter 1. Chapter 1, y'all. Chapter 2, a love that won't die. The moment she hung up, her mind screamed at her to forget him. But her body betrayed her. She lay in the bed next to the man she was supposed to love, staring at the ceiling, body tense, heart still racing. The warmth of his voice lingered in her ears, and no matter how hard she tried to shake it off, he was still there. She turned her head slightly, looking at the man sleeping beside her, the safe guy. His breathing was steady, chest rising and falling in peaceful oblivion. He had no idea that just an hour ago she had been on the phone with another man, biting her lip, fighting an urge that never truly went away. Guilt should have been eating her alive, but it didn't. Hey, everybody. But it didn't. Instead, she turned on her side, squeezing her thighs together, remembering his voice. Come here so I can eat it. Her eyes fluttered shut, and just like that, she was gone. She tried to fight it. She really did. For days, she avoided calling, texting. She put up a fake smile, posted pictures, went on date nights, played her role. Her and the safe guy were couple goals. That's what people said anyway. And yet she felt nothing. When he kissed her, she didn't feel fireworks. When he touched her, her skin didn't burn. When he had sex with her, she was somewhere else with him. She was thinking about the man who had her soul, the man who ruined her for anyone else. Her body only reacted to him, no one else. And as much as she hated it, he knew. That's why when she finally caved and answered his FaceTime, he was smirking. He leaned against the headboard, shirtless, tattoos cover. Boy, he eating her out of her mind. Nah, for real. He said the boy eating her. Her body only reacted to him, no one else. And how much she had hated it, he knew. That's why when she finally caved and answered his FaceTime, he was smirking. He leaned against his headboard, shirtless, tattoos covering his arm, his presence dripping with dominance. I knew you called, he said, voice deep and smooth, making her stomach tighten. She swallowed, shifting in bed. I shouldn't have. His smirk widened, but you did. She hated how cocky he was, hated how much power he had over her. And then he leaned in, eyes locking with hers through the screen, voice dropping to a whisper that sent chills down her spine. Say it. She clenched her jaw. Say what? His smirk faded, his expression turned serious, dark, demanding. That you miss me. Her breath caught. She should have ended the call. She should have lied, but she couldn't because she did. So she whispered the truth. I miss you. And just like that, he had her again. That's chapter 2, y'all. Chapter 2 is getting spicy. Jack said that boy eating her out her mind. Is it? All right, chapter 3, the engagement. She never go through my room. The engagement. He got her stuck. They got a soul tie, Jack. Chapter 3, the engagement. She never saw it coming. The safe guy was predictable, routine, logical, not the type to do anything grand. And that's why when she stepped onto the beach that night, her breath caught in her throat. The sun had just set, leaving streaks of pink and purple across the sky. Candles lined the shore, flickering in the evening breeze. A table for two sat under a canopy decorated with white roses, fairy lights, and silk drapes, swaying gently with the wind. Balloons in shades of silver, gold, and black floated above. And just beyond the waves, a massive banner read, "Will you marry me?" Her heart pounded as she turned to him, stunned. This wasn't him. He wasn't the romantic grand gesture type. He didn't do things like this. And yet here he was, standing in front of her, dressed sharply in an all-black suit, eyes filled with hope, nerves, and something that almost looked like fear. And then she heard it, a low rumble in the sky. She looked up, a jet soared above them, cutting through the clouds, dragging the long banner behind it. The word sent a shock through her chest. "Will you marry me?" Her hands flew to her mouth. This wasn't real. She turned back to him just as he dropped to one knee, pulling a velvet box from his pocket. Then he flipped it open. The biggest ring she had ever seen sparkled under the golden lights, nearly blinding her. It was huge, flashy, expensive, the kind of ring that made a statement. The kind of ring that said, "She's taken, boys. She's mine." A small crowd gathered nearby, watching, whispering. People pulled out their phones, recording a moment. Her heart slammed against her ribs. This was it. He took a deep breath, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "I know I haven't always been perfect, but I love you. I love everything about you, and I want to spend the rest of my life providing that for you." He reached for her hands, eyes locked with hers. "Will you marry me?" She couldn't breathe. The cameras were on. His face was open, vulnerable, waiting. The whole thing felt like a dream. A grand, beautiful, surreal dream. And so before she could let her heart speak, she nodded yes. The crowd erupted in cheers. He slipped the ring onto her finger, then pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. She smiled, she laughed, she let him kiss her. She played her role. But deep down, past the excitement, past the shock, past the this should make me happy, there was a whisper. A whisper that sounded like another man's voice. Shut up, you stuck with me for life. Her stomach tightened. As the ring glistened on her finger, the cameras flashed as the man she was supposed to love held her like she was his forever. She couldn't shake the feeling that she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. All right. Chapter 4. He won't let go. She should have felt relieved. She was engaged now. The safe guy had done everything right. The perfect proposal, the perfect ring, the perfect future laid out in front of her. So why did she feel like she was being watched? At first, he didn't say a word. No text, no call, just silence. The man who had always kept a tight grip on her, the one who had always found a way to pull her back, had disappeared. And yet she could feel him. It started with little things. A notification. He watched every one of her Instagram stories but never liked a single post. He was there but invisible. A lingering presence. People she barely knew, friends of his, distant associates, started popping up in her orbit. A car rolling slow past her house, a familiar name popping up in her DMs, asking casual questions, nothing direct, just enough to remind her that he was still watching, enough to remind her that she didn't belong to anyone but him. And then the silence ended. It was late past midnight when her phone finally rang. His name flashed on the screen. Her stomach tightened. She told herself not to answer, not this time. She answered anyway. The line was quiet for a second before he spoke. His voice colder than she had ever heard it. So that's what we doing now? She swallowed hard. What are you talking about? A low chuckle, dark, amused, but not happy. Don't play dumb. His voice was smooth, calculated, but beneath it, there was something else, something dangerous. You think that nigga can keep you away from me? Her pulse kicked up. It's not like that. Oh, it's exactly like that. Silence stretched between them, heavy, suffocating, and then his voice dropped lower. You know you don't belong to him. She squeezed her eyes shut. I'm getting married. He let out a slow breath, like he was holding back laughter. No, you're not. Her heart slammed into her ribs. Yes, I am. Another pause, and then his voice changed. The coldness faded, replaced with possession, claiming a reminder. Come see me. Her body betrayed her, a slow ache creeping into her stomach, her thighs pressing together. I can't. You can. I won't. He let out a dark chuckle. You always say that. And the worst part is, he was right. The night was reckless. She shouldn't have been there. She shouldn't have been under him, against him, wrapped up in him. But none of that mattered when his hands were on her body, when his lips were at her neck, when his voice was in her ear. This is mine, she moaned, hating how true it was. Because it didn't matter what ring was on her finger. It didn't matter how big the proposal was. It didn't matter how safe her life looked from the outside. She was his, and she always would be. That is chapter 4. One more chapter. Chapter 5. The wedding and the aftermath. The mirror don't lie. She stood in the bridal suite staring at her reflection, drowning in white lace and uncertainty. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. The day she walked down the aisle. The day she became a wife. The day she officially chose the safe guy. So why did it feel like she was making the biggest mistake of her life? Her hands trembled as she adjusted her veil, but it wasn't nerves. It was doubt. It was guilt. It was the feeling of being owned by a man who wasn't the one waiting at the altar. She closed her eyes, taking a shaky breath. She needed to focus. This was her decision. This was the right thing. So why did her skin still feel hot from the night before? Why did she still hear his voice in her head? You don't belong to him. Her stomach twisted. She had to do this. She had to go through with it, because if she didn't, she knew exactly where she'd end up. The ceremony was beautiful. Everything was perfect. The flowers, the decor, the way the guests gasped when she walked in, the way the safe guy's eyes filled with emotion when he saw her. She smiled. She held his hand. She said the vow. She played her part. But then she saw him. He was standing in the back of the church, silent, still waiting, still watching. Her breath hitched. His face was unreadable, but his eyes told her everything. You don't love him. You love me. For one dangerous fleeting second, she thought he might do it. Stop the wedding, say something, take her away from all of this. But he didn't. He just watched. Watched as she said, I do. Watched as she kissed another man. Watched as she walked out of the church with someone else. And as the doors closed behind her, her heart shattered. The reception, full of celebration, full of people laughing, drinking, and dancing. She was a bride. She was a wife. She was supposed to be happy. But when she checked her phone, there was one unread message waiting for her. She knew who it was before she even opened it. Him. You'll never love him the way you love me. Her chest tightened. And as she sat there surrounded by cheers, love, congratulations, a ring on her finger, and a husband by her side, she realized he was right. She had married the safe guy, but her heart, it will always belong to someone else. The end. Ooh, because my mouth is dry. What you think? What you think about that one? That one is called Torn Between the Two. That one is called Torn Between the Two, y'all. What you think? What you think? What do y'all think? I'm coming back again at 8 o'clock. Because I know this one was early, but if I don't do... She didn't love the safe guy for real. No, not really. He was just safer to be with. He was a better option. Because the other dude was iffy. You know, he loved her, then he don't, and then on the weird shit. So, you know, she went with, I mean, that's the smart choice. I would think that's a smart choice. We could just have sex when we want to, and I be with the safe guy. That makes sense to me, anyways. She did love the safe guy a little bit. I mean, she married him. She just wasn't in love with him. You could love somebody and not be in love with them. No, that's not how it really go. But a lot of these stories are based on some shit that's kind of real. So, I mean, it can happen. Not saying that's my story, but I mean, I write these stories based on real shit. So, yeah. No. What? Yeah. What? I ain't hear him. What he had to say? What he say? Yep, I write all of them myself. Go talk to Ayana. She is right there in there, Milan. If you got the some of that stuff, you got to pay for it. Yeah, Jack, she did. That's how we really... No, she did love him. You could love somebody and not be in love with them. I could tell it's based off of real shit because that felt real. I'm like, what the fuck Buddy had? Yeah, he had mind control. He knew what he was doing, too. He knew what he was doing. She had a good man, but in the end, she still ended up with the good man. She just wasn't in love with the good man. Like, she had soul ties with the other dude, Mr. Wrong. She had soul ties with him, and she just loved who she was with. She didn't have soul ties. She didn't feel the connection. When they had sex, the sex wasn't kinetic like with the other guy. So, yeah. Yeah. So that was that. I think I'm gonna end the live at 6:30 and then come back at 8. I'm gonna read the same book again because I know it'll be more people on later. So I will be back at 8. Unless somebody got something to talk about. I got something to talk about or not before I hop up off this thing for a couple of hours. Okay, I'll be back at 8. All right, so y'all, that was Torn Between the Two, a original book that I wrote myself. Make sure that y'all tune in at 8 o'clock because I'll be back at 8 o'clock with another read. Actually, it's going to be the same read. I'm going to read this book again because I'm trying to keep my episodes together. So each book I read is an episode. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to read this book again. So I will see y'all at 8 o'clock. All right, until then, bye. Keep going. Thank you, Jack. I plan on keeping it moving. I definitely do, baby. I'm trying to get rich. It's about time. It's about that time that all of this ass get found. I eat. But I will see y'all back at 8 o'clock. All right. Bye.